Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to Outlaw Couples Month. 2 weeks ago I reviewed Bonnie and Clyde, a great movie based off probably the most famous of all outlaw couples. And today I'm going to be reviewing a movie that is the feature film debut of one of the most famous directors of all time. This is my retro review for the SUGARLAND Express, which came out in 1974, 50 years ago, and is the feature film debut of one Steven Spielberg. The movie takes place in Texas and follows the Poplins, a married couple who kidnap a police officer and steal his car as they try to drive all the way down to Sugarland, Texas to get their son back, who's about to be placed into foster care. So they steal a cop car, they hold an officer hostage, and the husband has broken out of prison in order to help his wife get their son back. Yeah, these people seem completely suitable to care for a child. Nothing criminal about them at all. Before I continue, if you like this video and you want to see more reviews like this in the future, you can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also make sure to hit that bell button to get notifications whenever a new video comes out. Anyway, let's continue with the review. So throughout this year, I've been doing 2 sets of double feature retro reviews a month, but I've also kind of used this as a secret way to watch some Spielberg movies that I have not seen, but I probably should have. At least the ones that really defined his career, like Schindler's List back in February 1941 last month, and now we have his feature film debut, SUGARLAND Express. Jaws may have been the movie that kicked off his career and gave us the Steven Spielberg that we all know and love, but this was his feature film debut. He directed a lot of TV movies beforehand, including Duel. It's once again produced by Richard Zanuck and David Brown, who produced Jaws the next year, and it was his first collaboration with John Williams. So this movie has some historical importance to it, just on the fact that this was his first feature film. It's also a movie of his that's clearly gone under the radar, considering that Jaws was the one that everyone remembers as his first. So now that I've actually watched SUGARLAND Express for myself, putting all the historical context aside, it definitely feels like a movie from a first-time director. It's a very simple story, and I mean that for better and for worse. For better, because it's something that I think a lot of people can relate to, trying to get your child back. I can't relate to it myself because I'm a 33-year-old single dude, but it's more relatable than, say, with Bonnie and Clyde, where they're just robbing banks for the fun of it. They start out thinking that they're like Robin Hood, but after a while, they're just more doing it for the thrill. The Poplins aren't really going out of their way to harm people at all. They just want to get their son back. It's just the way they go about doing it are a little extreme. And both your lead actors, Goldie Hawn and William Atherton, are great. Goldie Hawn is fantastic as this woman who's trying to go as far as she can to get her son back. And William Atherton at first is very reluctant to do this because he has to complete his prison sentence, but he goes through with it, and he seems to be really dedicated to doing this as well. And I gotta say, for William Atherton, he really is good in the movie. My only exposure to him was Walter Peck from Ghostbusters. You know, the man that has no dick. So he definitely leaves a strong impression as such an unlikable prick, which is a shame because he's really good in this movie here. He's playing a completely different character. You get a lot of sympathy towards him, especially when you get to the end of the movie. You also have Michael Sachs as the patrolman that they kidnap. And in this scenario, the Poplins are basically using him as a means to not get arrested, not get shot, because he's their hostage. But as the movie goes on, you get to see this patrolman kind of bond with the Poplins. He understands why they're doing the things that they're doing, and you kind of grow to like this guy as well. So in terms of all the character work and just understanding why these people are doing what they're doing, that's where the simple plot is at its best. Now, where it's at its worst, and this is my main criticism with the movie, is that it begins very abruptly. Goldie Hawn is visiting William Atherton in prison, and we basically get a breakdown of what happened, why she came to visit him, and why she wants to get him out of prison. And then when you get to the end of the movie, it feels like it ends abruptly. It doesn't really have a happy ending, and the actual happy ending of the movie that is in line with the true events is done through text, and that completely caught me off guard when it happened. I sat there going, wait, that's how you're ending this movie? So that's what I meant early on when this movie has clear signs of a first-time director. But again, considering that this is Steven Spielberg, a lot of his strengths that would be prevalent in other movies to come are here. He works very well with actors, for one. You have a great John Williams score as well, which is not super bombastic, and it's very subtle. It gives you that feeling of hope, tragedy, and it just fits well with the landscape of Texas. And on that brief side note, since I was born in San Antonio, there were a few moments in this movie when you see a car chase and I thought, that's not Texas, that looks like California. But this movie was shot in Texas, so maybe that was a part of Texas that I'm not too familiar with. But there was a point when I did the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme, when there's a wide shot of the cops chasing the Poplins, and I could see a sign for new brothels. I'm thinking, oh, that's near San Antonio. I recognize that sign, I recognize that landscape. So that brought a lot of joy knowing that they shot near San Antonio. And speaking of shooting, the cinematography in this movie is outstanding. There's so many great shots. There's a lot of car chases throughout the entire movie that are well framed. They can be very exciting, and you just get a grand scale of the amount of police cars that are just tracking down this one couple. And this is something where a few people have pointed out a subtle anti-police message, how they have so many resources that they just waste. The amount of police cars, helicopters, like it can get absurd. And you watch this movie going, okay, do y'all really need these many cops for 2 people? Like, really? That's a little too much, guys. If I had any other criticisms about the SUGARLAND Express, it's that there are a few moments in the movie where you have scenes and characters that lead to nothing. When we're first introduced to Michael Sack's character, there's somebody in his back seat, and he's just kind of talking a bunch of nonsense, and then he escapes from the car, runs off into the distance, and that's the last we ever see of him. So I thought, what was the point of that? But overall, for Steven Spielberg's feature film debut, this is a good one. It's well shot, it's very well acted, the John Williams score is great, but it does have a few issues, mainly with how rushed the beginning and endings are. So it's not a masterpiece per se, but for a feature film debut, it's a good one. It's just not great. Had I actually seen this in 1974, I wasn't alive back then, but just theoretically, this is how I would have felt about the movie, thinking it's not great, but it's really good, and this young guy, Steven Spielberg, if he really hones in his skills, he could just be an amazing director, and I hope the next movie he makes really showcases his talent. And we all know what happened after that. So if you're a fan of Steven Spielberg, but you've somehow missed the SUGARLAND Express, it's really worth checking out because it's the 50th anniversary of the movie, and it's really good to see the first feature film of one of the most famous directors working today and see how much he's evolved since then. So it's really good, but not one of his best. And there you go, that's my review for the SUGARLAND Express. I hope you enjoyed it, and with that we have come to the end of Outlaw Couples Month. Next month in September, I'll be tackling 2 other classic movies in what I'm calling 7 Heroes Month. And just based off the name, it's probably no surprise at all what I'll be reviewing. So the first movie I'll be reviewing in 7 Heroes Month is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. I reviewed The Hidden Fortress, I reviewed Yojimbo, I love Akira Kurosawa, but I never got around to review Seven Samurai. And this is actually the first time I've rewatched the movie since I first saw it I think maybe 20 years ago, so it's been a while. And then 2 weeks after Seven Samurai, I'll be reviewing its American remake, The Magnificent Seven. I've seen the 2016 version, but I've never seen the original. So I am excited to watch Magnificent Seven for the first time, but also to re-watch Seven Samurai, especially on its 70th anniversary. So guys, thank you so much for watching this review. Thank you for being subscribed to the channel. And I want to give a special thank you to my YouTube members right over here. If you want to help support the channel even more, you can do so via YouTube memberships for as little as $1.99 a month. Not only do you get early access to all of my videos, but you get exclusive videos that nobody else gets to see. And in September, you'll be getting another top 5 favorites video. I won't say what the movie is yet, but I will say it is one from this year. So I hope you guys consider becoming YouTube members if you aren't. And until next time, I want to know what you guys think about the Sugarland Express. Whatever your opinions are, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and my theme park and travel channel right here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.